What's going on, everybody? Ronnie DiMaggio here, product specialist at BMW of Morristown. That's also behind the camera, and in today's video we are doing a walk around and overview with the all new 2023 BMW X7. So the X7 for the 2023 model year has received an LCI. In BMW terms, that stands for Life Cycle Impulse. It's a mid-cycle refresh. When the model gets to the middle point of its production run, BMW gives them a little refresh, and that is what we see here. However, in the case of the X7, it's a really substantial refresh. A lot of times LCIs are just minor tweaks. This LCI for the X7 is a huge change, almost like a new generation. So as you can see right up front, we have a ton of new styling elements in the front as well as the back. We have revised powertrains, revised option choices, and we have a heavily revised interior. We're going to talk about all that stuff. This is a hot new model for BMW, so we are going to bring this one to you through video because they might be tough to check out. Dealers are just getting them in. So I'm sure a lot of people are interested in this car, and that's why we're filming it for you guys. So let's start off talking about the new powertrain options in the X7. So this particular car is an xDrive 40 model, which is the same as same name that it was the entry-level model was called for the pre-LCI. It does use the B58 still, however, it is a revised version of the B58, so it now makes 375 horsepower as opposed to 335 in the pre-LCI. It is a heavily revised version of the B58 using that 48-volt mild hybrid system. An interesting thing about the new B58 is that it uses the Miller cycle now. What that does is change the way the different strokes, like compression, intake, and power strokes, work in the engine to help with efficiency and that kind of good stuff. So more powerful, more efficient, just generally a better version of the B58 than what we got in the previous pre-LCI X7, and that was a fantastic engine anyway. So nice to see the B58 is improved upon. A bigger powertrain change, though, happens in the V8 model of the X7. So previously the X7 M50 used the N63. Now the X7 M60, the M60 nomenclature replaces M50, uses an S68 engine. So that is an all-new, 100% new 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8. It's going to make a lot of power. I don't think the power numbers are officially out yet, but it's an S engine. It's a full-blown M engine in a non-full-blown M car, which is really cool to see. So the S68 is going to be really exciting. When we get one of those in, we'll show it to you guys as well. And I actually talked to one of the engineers from BMW at a launch event for the X7 a little while before it came out, and he told me there's basically no part sharing between the S63 and the S68. So it's still a 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8, but don't let that confuse you. It's a totally new V8, which is really exciting. We're going to see that same V8 in the 7 Series, the M5, so really exciting there. That is another big change for the X7. In the press release, BMW also says that it's a new 8-speed Steptronic Sport transmission, which is cool to see, so the ZF8 is improved upon as well. So that's the powertrain stuff. Let's talk about styling. So looking at the front end, you guys can see that it is hugely different than the pre-LCI X7. The big change is we now have a split headlight design. So these upper parts are your daytime running lights, and your low beams, high beams, all the actual lighting elements for the road ahead are in this lower section. So looks really good in person. It's really bold, and it is different for BMW, and I know a lot of BMW people don't necessarily like different. However, I am kind of a BMW traditionalist as well, but I do think it looks very bold and striking on the road. And BMW is going with this split headlight design for the new 7 Series as well. It's kind of the new thing for the luxury models, the 7 Series and the X7. So we obviously have new styling up front. We also have some package differences that I want to point out while we're up here. This car is equipped with the M Sport package. You can still get a luxury line X7 if you would like. This has the M Sport package. It also has the new, for 2023, M Sport Package Pro. So the M Sport Package Pro is more or less just the Shadowline package. That's what gets you these black grille surrounds. You have some other black accents throughout the car. It also gives you an M Performance or M exhaust, so upgraded exhaust in the M Package Pro. Sorry, lots of M's and packages and stuff. So new package options are cool to see as well, and we will show you guys a clip of the exhausts coming up in the video. So that's the front end. Let's take a look at the side of the car. Another big change for 2023 X7s is that you can now get 23-inch wheels on an X7. That is the first time a 23-inch wheel has ever been available on a non-Alpina BMW model. These are not the 23s, these are 21-inch wheels, kind of the more classic split 5-spoke design. We do have the blue M Sport calipers on this M Sport car. These are more or less the entry-level wheel option. If you want the 23s, they look fantastic, and you could level up to some multi-spoke wheels as well. I think these ones for kind of an entry-level wheel look really good anyway. You do have that same black side gill that runs down the length of the car. No emmed wing mirror caps, of course. This is not the M60 or the like an M car or anything like that. So I'm not sure if we'll see that on the M60 or not. We're excited to see that car when it comes in, but kind of the more subtle entry-level base model here with the M Sport package gives you that extra little kind of M Sport flair without going all the way up to an M60 or something like that. Another nice note is the black roof rails. On a luxury line car, those will be like a satin silver type color, but I think they look really nice in black, especially paired to Tanzanite Blue. The rear wheel is also a 21, and you do still have the blue painted caliper in the back as well. Now, if we want to take a look at the back of the X7, this is where the styling changes are a little bit more subtle. It's mostly just found in the taillight. So if we want to come up really close actually and take a peek at these taillights, they're a little bit darker. And there you can see as they flash, you kind of have a like patterned area right in this section, which is new for the 2023s. Looks really cool. A very subtle change in the back of the X7, which I'm glad they did keep it subtle back here, because I think the rear of the X7 looked really good as it was. We do have our M Sport specific rear valence down here in the diffuser area and the bumper, and we have black finishers on the exhaust as well. So this is the M Sport Package Pro. It does have the upgraded exhaust that you don't get without that package. So while we're back here, let's go ahead and take a listen to the exhaust. All right, so now that you guys have taken a listen to the exhaust and we've gone over the exterior styling, let's take a look at the cargo capacity as well as some of the rear and third row seating space. So the X7 is a big vehicle, biggest one in the BMW model lineup. And because of that, it is often looked at as the family vehicle in the BMW model range. And it is fantastic for families because you have the third row. And as you can see, even with the third row up, we still have plenty of usable cargo space back here. Even with the third row occupied, you can still store things behind if you need to. We also have plenty of space underneath the cargo floor, so you can lift this up and store stuff. This is our cargo cover for when the third row is in place, so this is easily removable, so it's not kind of blocking your entry there. But we can close that up, and speaking of folding the third row down, let's go ahead and do that. So we can press these two buttons right here, which control the third row. These control the second row, and then you have some shortcuts for maximum people and maximum storage. But click those once, and the third row folds down into its flat position. And now you can see with the third row folded all the way down, you have plenty of cargo space, tons and tons of room back here. And if you option the bench seat, you can seat 5 and still have this cargo space, which is super practical. So that's going to do it for the trunk and the cargo area. Let's walk around to the rear seat and talk about some of the rear seat amenities as well as third row space. All right, so as far as second row amenities in the X7 goes, you can take a look. This one's really well equipped. So you have the sunshades. We do have Bowers & Wilkins, of course, but you have your individual controls for your sunshades and things like that. And this one also has the dual zone rear climate control, and of course captain's chairs, in this case trimmed in really nice Tartufo Merino Leather. So this is a super luxurious back seat with the backlit speakers and the sunshades and the Alcantara headliner. It's a really, really nice place to be in the back of the X7. As far as room goes, I'll hop in and show you guys that plenty of space back here. This is my driving position right here up front, so sitting behind myself, I have knee room as much as I could possibly want. Headroom, obviously not a problem, so really nice place to be. You have your own individual armrest, so this is a super comfortable back seat in the X7. It is a 7, so like the 7 Series, it has to be a good people carrier. It has to have good rear seat space, and that continues in the third row as well. So we can pull this little lever to move the seat forward, and that'll give us access to the third row. And as you can see, with the seat folded forward, you have quite a big pass-through, so I can climb back here and show you that even a full-grown adult, we can even throw the seat back because there's so much room, has plenty of room in the back of the X7. Might be tough to get a proper camera angle on it while I'm back here, but I have plenty of room. My knee room is really good. My headroom's really good. I have a cup holder. I have a USB-C for charging. I have my own independent climate control as well as heated third row seats. So the back seat, or the third row, the very, very back of the X7 is even still a nice place to be. Like I said, I'm 5'9", and I fit back here really comfortably. I could spend a whole road trip back there. It is a perfectly usable third row for kids or for adults. So that's the back seat space. Let's hop up front and talk about all the new technology in the 2023 X7 and the styling changes as well. All right, so here we are up front in the 2023 X7, and right off the bat, I'm sure you guys are noticing a big change for 2023. That is the integration of BMW's new iDrive 8 operating system. So that includes this huge curved display. This is standard on all 2023 X7s. So you have a fully digital gauge cluster, fully digital center screen, which is touch, of course, and the new iDrive 8 operating system. That rolled out in the i4 and the iX. It's just now starting to trickle into the quote-unquote normal models, the gas-powered cars. The X7, the 2023 M3 and M4 have iDrive 8. Some other models are getting it as well, the new 7 Series. So eventually this will make its way into most BMW models. And we did already do a deep dive on iDrive 8 in an iX. That is already on our channel if you want to go check that video out for a really in-depth tour of iDrive 8. We still have our main menu buttons over here on the left. You have this is apps now, which kind of replaces car, so we can go in here. These are all the apps, and since we're connected to CarPlay, you can see we have our CarPlay apps in here as well. We have communication, or media, communication, nav, and then our CarPlay icon down here on the left. So pretty familiar. We have our different radio sources. We can go in here to go through, well, it's going to jump us to CarPlay because we have CarPlay hooked up, but all the basic stuff that you would expect out of iDrive 7 makes sense in iDrive 8, just in a kind of sleeker way. Still have the customizable home screen. We can tap and drag. So iDrive 8 is fantastic. The center screen's a big part of it, but another big part of iDrive 8 is the gauge cluster. So we can see in the gas-powered models that the gauge cluster shows RPMs over there on the right, whereas in the electric vehicles, that shows like your e-power percentage. This is customizable. If I press this button right here on the steering wheel and then use these controls, I can scroll through the content that's in the middle of the screen. I can change the layout of my gauge cluster, and I can also change what is shown in my heads-up display. That doesn't show up great on camera, but you guys get the idea. The heads-up display in iDrive 8 is really cool and extremely useful. So these steering wheel controls are now used to customize gauge cluster. And when you're not in the gauge cluster customization menu, if you just press these buttons, they will do your media and radio in the heads-up display as well, so you still have that functionality too. So we love the new gauge cluster in iDrive 8. It's so incredibly customizable. It's extremely useful. The heads-up display is upgraded, so iDrive 8 is really just kind of a home run in my opinion. It does take some getting used to. It is different stylistically, but as far as the functionality, it is really, really good and impressive. One thing also about iDrive 8 that I know some people are a little bit on the fence about is that the climate controls are now integrated into the screen, but BMW kind of makes it easy because there's always the climate menu button right there at the bottom center of the screen. If you want to adjust your climate controls, no matter what screen you're on, you're looking at the traffic conditions or something like that, you just press climate menu and it pops right up. And of course, you have the intelligent personal assistant, so you can always just press your voice control button and say, adjust climate to 75 or whatever it is that you want to do. So that's iDrive 8. That is the biggest change in the interior of the X7. However, stylistically with iDrive 8, we get rid of some buttons in the center, so that comes with styling changes. Primarily, you see this kind of trim piece that extends all the way from just to the right of the steering column over to the air vent on the right side, and right there you're seeing the new ambient lighting feature in that trim piece. So that lights up at night, looks really cool. And you can, of course, adjust the color of the ambient lighting. If we go into our vehicle apps and find interior lighting, ambience, and then you can change the color. We have way more color options for iDrive 8, which is awesome to see. And then you can adjust like the brightness and stuff like that. Another cool thing with iDrive 8 is that when you put the car into sport mode, it changes the ambient lighting too. So it's like the different My modes in the iX that kind of translates to the gas-powered cars too. So when you press sport, you can see that the screen goes red and stuff like that. As we enter sport mode now, like all the highlights are red. And if we enter Eco Pro, they alter in blue. So it changes more than just the driving now. It actually changes the interface as well as the ambient lighting, which is really cool to see. I like that. You know, when you're in sport mode, things turn red. It just makes you feel sportier. Everybody knows that red is the sportiest color. So it's cool to see that the ambient light kind of integrates with the drive modes a little bit more. Other than iDrive 8 and the styling changes that had to come along with it in order to make it work without climate control buttons, the rest is pretty standard X7. This center console area is identical minus, of course, the different shifter. It's now this switch rather than like the actual shift knob. Works just as you would expect. Foot on the brake, pull back for drive, forward for reverse, once for neutral, and then you have the button for park. We still have an iDrive controller, thankfully, and then our buttons over here on the left, our adjustment for our air suspension, and things like that are all pretty similar for the 23 as they were in the 2022. This particular car, while we're in it, I want to talk about the options. So this one is really well equipped. We have the premium package, which gives us gesture control and some other nice features. We have really nice extended merino leather, or full merino leather, so really luxurious interior. We have the Bowers and Wilkins sound system, which is absolutely fantastic in the X7 here. You can get Harman Kardon as well if you don't want to go all the way to Bowers and Wilkins, or you can get neither if you're happy with the base sound system. This one is also equipped with Drive Assist Pro, so we have our like steering wheel lights in here, and we have our different buttons for the self-driving features. One thing that is different is that instead of having the adjustments for your following distance for cruise control right here on the steering wheel, that's now integrated into the screen. And at first thought, when I heard that they did that, I thought that was a terrible idea. Why would you remove it from the steering wheel? But at least they did do it in a kind of simple way. All you have to do is go to apps, find your driving settings, driver assistance, driving, distance control, and then you can adjust it. And you might be saying, Ronnie, that was like 8 million steps. That's way too hard. Well, we set it to a preset, so all you have to do is swipe down and it's right there. So that's one of my favorite things about iDrive 8 is you got rid of the 1 through 8 buttons, but you still have presets. If you swipe down from the top of the screen, you can set shortcuts right here. So you have your safety and warnings. If you want to kind of integrate that hot button with the circle for the safety and warnings into the screen, you can do that. Just swipe down and save it to one of these presets. We also have it for our following distance. So BMW knows that people like those presets and they didn't get rid of them, as a lot of people are saying they did. There's no more hard buttons, but it's so easy to just swipe down and they're right there. So presets still exist, thankfully, maybe not as conveniently as they used to, but they're still in there. BMW knows their clients and they know that people love that, so they kept it as well as they could while still eliminating the buttons with the minimalist interior design. So that was a lot of stuff. Hopefully that gave you guys an idea of kind of what's new in the interior of the 2023 X7. To summarize, iDrive 8, different styling, no more shifter. That's pretty much it. There are some options package differences as well. If you go on the BMW website, that's the best way to learn about those. You can go to build your own and see how the different options play out. If we talked about all of them, this would be a 45-minute video. So hopefully we brought you guys as much as we could through video on the interior and the exterior, but that's going to do it for the inside. Let's hop outside and wrap up. All right, so that is going to do it for this walk around and overview of the 2023 BMW X7 LCI. Hopefully that gave you guys a good idea of what's new for the X7, kind of got you familiar with the new model if you haven't had a chance to check one out already. If you do want to check one out and you're local to Morristown, New Jersey, at BMW of Morristown, we have some X7s, so 111 Ridgedale Ave in Morristown, come check us out. If you're interested in an X7, we can either maybe get you into one that we have in stock or order one for you. You can also give us a call at 973-455-0700 if you're interested in an X7 or any other BMW. We will set you guys up. But that is going to do it for this one. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, please drop a like, drop a comment. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, we respond to all our comments on YouTube as well as all of our social media platforms, Instagram and TikTok at BMW of Morristown. Super responsive and super active on all our socials. So please give us a follow on those and subscribe to the channel for future videos. But that's going to do it for this one. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.